Hello everyone, welcome back to week 1 part 2 on Python. Today we're going to be learning about basic data types. These include variables, strings, tuples, dictionaries, and so on. Let's start with variables. Variables are placeholders and can hold any kind of information, from names to commands. To define a variable, you need to do this. You need to name a variable equals and anything you want to be your variable. So if this isn't clear or I didn't tell you clear enough, let me show you instead of tell you. So let's go to Anaconda Navigator and Jupyter Notebook. We're gonna launch it. Might take a few seconds, but that's okay. All right, so here we go. And now that we're in the new Jupyter Notebook, we're gonna go to new, click on it, Python 3, so we can get a new notebook and start working on it. The first thing you should do when you get a notebook, and it should be because you have to make it organized. All right, so let's name it. To name it, go to Untitled and you click on it to change it. I'm going to change it to Python Week 1 Part 2. And when you're done, just click rename or enter. All right, variables. So what should we define the variable? Say gluttonous equals, I don't know, like some number. So gluttonous equals 756. But when I press enter, it just gives me extra lines because here you have to remember to run the program. You can either go here, press run, or you could shift return. That's my favorite because I'm still on the keyboard. I don't have to move the mouse and it's pretty easy. Okay, so you can define anything. So like but here when I put spaces in, it doesn't work because when you put spaces, it's gonna think that you did pizza equals 6,000 blah blah blah, and the I eat are like functions or commands. So we don't want that. So either you could just delete the spaces, or you could put underscores, which is what most expert programmers use. So I'm just gonna do that. Shift enter and shift return or enter, same thing. And here we are. All right. So let's go here. Strings. So what are strings? Strings are really easily found because they're always the ones in quotations. So if you see something in quotation, you're gonna be like, oh, it's a string. Even numbers in quotation marks are strings. And yeah, strings are very useful. They can be used in a lot of things, but they can also be defined in variables. So let's go to the Jupyter Notebook. And here we are. So we can define, let's say, go equals, oh, oops, accidentally. So here you can either put one quotation mark or two quotation marks. It doesn't really matter because they're all the same. I like the two quotation marks because it just looks like regular quotation marks. So yeah. So in Jupyter Notebook, integers are green, operators are purple, words are black, and strings are red. Shift enter or return. And now it doesn't really output anything. To output something, you just write the name of the thing. Let's see, gluttonous. Shift enter. It gives that. And even if you print go, you just shift enter. It gives you that. Say you want to add another line. You have to go here, up here, to the plus sign. That's going to give you extra lines. See here? And if you want to save your work, just click this. It looks like a file thing. So it's going to create this checkpoint thing. And cut is just you erase something. Like you just cut it. Anyway, so on we go. So yeah, that's basically, well, there's the strings. Integers. Python integers are whole numbers such as -1, 0, 1, 70, and so on. So they're basically just numbers. And on the example for gluttonous, it's equal to 756. So that's an integer. List. Okay, so list is one of the three containers. I call them containers because they're like lists. So the most important thing to know about list is that it is surrounded by brackets. If you put anything else, it's going to be something else because they have a lot of different things. Okay, so if you didn't already, write this part down because it's very important. So when you put something in a list, you can put anything from variables, strings, and so on. So let me give you an example. Let's hop onto the Jupyter Notebook. Right, so list. Let's call it grocery list. Oops. Oh, and if you accidentally made a space, it's gonna be green. So it's gonna show you that this is a command. And then if it's another operator, it's gonna be bolded. So if you see that your word list is in green, Python is warning you that you should use something else as your variable because it's gonna get confused. So if you do this, you can, but you shouldn't. So yeah. Let's see, what do we want? Ooh. Beef. Let's go with beef. I love beef. I'm sorry, vegetarians. I'm sorry. Okay. Let's go with salad. Octopus. All right. Shift enter. And when you write grocery list, shift enter, you get that. So say someone wants to, I don't know, someone tells you to just get salad from the list. You could just print salad, but what you want to do is okay, here's another cool trick. So when you don't want to write the long words like grocery list, you write grow or something and you tab it, you press the tab button and it's going to autocomplete you. All right. Now, here's something about Python that is very strange. When you want to count something in a list, it always starts with 0. So beef is going to be 0, eggs is 1, salad is number 2 in the list, and octopus is 3. So if we want to get salad, if we wanted to get salad, we're going to have to bracket, we're going to have to use bracket and 2 in there. And then shift enter, you get salad. So that's just a cool way to take something in. Where is it? Okay. Another cool thing, if you want to put something in a list, which we're gonna learn more about next lesson, you could write append. Oops. Grocery list dot append. Let's see, what do we want? Chicken. Shift. So now, so what basically what append does, it gives some, you add something to the list. So now if we write grocery list, it's gonna give chicken at the end. And we're gonna learn other cool things to do with that. All right. Next container, tuple. Tuple are like lists, but they're immutable. So that means you can't change it. That's a fancy word to say that you can't change it in Python. So that means you can't append anything, you can't pop anything, you can't delete anything. If you want to change anything, you have to go back to the original thing, to the original line, and you just have to change it there. That's not very cool, but it's a tuple. Tuple is a tuple. And the most important thing to know about tuples is it ends and surrounded by parentheses. Very important. Don't get it mixed up with list, or don't use the other bracket. Don't use the curly bracket. We're going to talk about that later. All right, so Jupyter Notebook. All right, let's make a Pokemon list. All right, so we have Pikachu, Bulba. Oh shoot, that's sorry. Oh. So remember, we need parentheses. All right, I'm gonna type this quickly. All right, here we are. So we have our list here. Shift enter. All right, so remember how I said it was immutable, right? So if, say, someone tried to append, let's see, append. All right, it's gonna give you an error because, as I said, tuple cannot be changed. So if you want to change it, you're gonna have to go back to that line. So it says object has no attribute append. But see, it worked here. It worked on the grocery list, but which was a list, but this is a tuple, so it doesn't work on it. All right. So, and you can't really But if you want to add something, you can definitely add it here. Sorry if I spelled it wrong, but now we have that list, and this thing still can't be added. But if we look at it did add the new one because I changed it on the line, but you can't add anything else. All right. On to the last container, a dictionary. Dictionary is like a scorebook, or yeah, it's like a scorebook. So it's always going to be in this form. And one very important thing to know about dictionary is it has curly brackets. All right. So let's go to Jupyter Notebook. All right. So on the Jupyter Notebook, we can create a list of views on YouTube. So let's see. Oh wait, curly braces. Oh, remember you inside the thing you always have to add. Oh, look who joined us. It's Thorless. My cat Thorless. All right, so PewDiePie. You can also add commas if it gets confusing. Oops. Okay, you can't add commas. You cannot add commas. All right, next. Oh, and by the way, these figures are definitely not accurate. I'm just making things up. All right. So now you can just, oh, I did view while. Let's change that. All right, so here we have this. And if we tried this, taking this out of that, out of the views on, oops. On that, it won't work because, oops. That's not right. If you tried to get the view on, it won't work. Well, it just won't work on for this because it won't work. But it does work for Tuple. I forgot to show you. It does work for Tuple. So what was the Tuple? Pokemon list. So all right. It does work. It's gonna give you Charmander. It does work. It just doesn't work for dictionary. All right. So homework. So today your homework is to review what we did on the video, or what I did. If you followed along, then that's cool. So your job is to review it, because next time we're gonna need to use these data types on something way bigger, and we can finally start programming. Well, this kind of is programming, but this is just like 1, 2, 3, ABC, so on. Thank you for attending my lecture, everyone. See you next week. Have a good day. Bye.